Sehr gut. Sehr gut.
I'm a time traveler from the year 2025, and I've come here to kill you, Hitler.
Oh, not again. I'm never gonna have enough time to finish these paintings with all of these time travelers trying to kill me.
Well, I'm going to succeed.
Before you pull the trigger, can I just ask why? Why do all of you people want to kill me?
Isn't it obvious? I'm a progressive, a liberal, a fighter for social justice. And you are a fascist who implemented a reign of terror. And while the effects of your policies devastated the world for decades, soon we will be able to take back the White House, and we will be able to use the government to force people to follow our great ideas.
You want to use government power to force your ideas on the populace. Me too! That's fantastic!
What? No. Ugh. You and I have nothing in common. What I'm saying is there are people in our time with dangerous ideas, and we need to silence them.
Silencing those who disagree with you. I do that too! Oh, wunderbar! Oh, the Nazi movement will not die with me.
Don't give me that! I'm enlightened, and you're as bad as... well, as Hitler. Listen, what I'm trying to say is we are very close to implementing a utopia, as long as we can get rid of some certain undesirable people groups.
Yes, like the Jews.
Yes, like the Jews. Oh.
So, in the future,
Oh.
you also do not like the Jews?
Well, no. But we don't believe in segregating all the races like you do. I mean, except for, like, graduation ceremonies. And dorms. And hiring practices. Oh, and admissions policies. That sort of thing.
I, too, am a fan of the segregation. I'm sorry, I have to ask, is this a real firearm or is this some kind of toy for kids?
It's a flare gun. I'm trying not to support America's toxic gun culture. I'm a firm believer in gun control.
Gun control! This was one of my ideas, too. Ban them from the undesirables. Yes, look here. Oh, and your shirt. This is an organization founded by Margaret Sanger. Yes?
Wait, you know about Margaret Sanger?
Jawohl, of course. Oh, she's such a lovely person.
No. She's a fighter for reproductive rights, for women's empowerment,
And the eradication of undesirable populations by means of eugenics. Brilliant lady, very inspiring. I must use some of her ideas in our socialized healthcare system.
Socialized healthcare? That's not your thing. That's our thing.
No, it's very much my thing. Did you know that Nazi means National Socialist German Workers' Party? Nazi is just more catchy. Nazi. Just rolls off the tongue.
No. This can't be true. This has to be some sort of mistake. We are nothing alike. You're Adolf Hitler, evil right-wing fascist dictator, and I'm a feminist restorative justice advocate. And a vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian? Me too!
Okay, I am so confused right now. I came here with a clear goal in mind to kill the most evil man who I've ever lived. Besides Ronald Reagan. But now that I'm meeting you in person, you're not at all what I thought you were. And your painting is actually really good. What do you call it?
I call it Ein Reich ohne Juden.
Wow. I don't know what that means, but it sounds beautiful.
It does, doesn't it?
Hey guys, welcome to the program. Do me a finger, would you please? Would you please raise a finger and share this program? I'm gonna try to push through this fairly quick on this particular episode. It's going to be an obvious smack up the side of the head, something you should know. But here's the bottom line. I'm going to treat you like an adult and you just make your own best decisions. But I got a few questions for you. I want to put in your noggin. as I do, my sponsorship here, then go to the roll into the program. I just want you to think about it because it'll have a bearing on this show. Would you ever allow anybody for any reason when you go vote? Would you, because I know you expect, when that ballot is scanned in, you expect it to count. Would you ever allow anybody for any reason, once you've cast it, to just hang on to it for whatever amount of time they wanted to hang on to it? Or even would you just allow them to look at it to try to determine what they think you meant? I just want you to think about it. Most people wouldn't. The other thing I want you to think about is, would you ever do anything intentionally to harm or potentially harm the elections of this country? You know how critical they are. Would you ever do anything intentionally to harm that? That's what I want you to think about, okay? And that's what we're going to be dealing with on today's program. Today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. I do a partnership with Goldco to help you, understand. I want you to know something's coming with money and digital. You better prepare. A lot of movements are being made. I'm only asking you to go to jovanlovesgold.com, fill out the request to get a free gold and silver kit, just to understand what you need to understand about silver and gold, etc., because now's the time to protect your money with gold and silver. It is so painfully simple, especially if you have a retirement account, a savings account, 401k, etc. Cover your ass. It's that simple. Nobody's saying, hey, go here and put $50,000 in. That's not what this is. Cover your booty fast with information, and then be the adult in the room, and you and only you make the best decision that you can make about your life and what you should do. By the way, it's that time of year, right? And you're thinking holiday season, whatever the case may be, a good gift, our hardbound book, Food Forest Bible. You can get it in softbound too. Just make sure you get the right one, because when the ebook came out, they copied me, cloned me, and did all kinds of junk to it, made it their own. A lot of people thought they were getting my book, but instead got somebody else's cheap version of the book. We did the original Food Forest Bible, the first time this multi-thousand-year-old information had ever been put into one place. But it's how to plan a garden and then plant that garden, and then the garden, in general terms, will continue to regenerate itself. Food Forest Bible, make sure you find my name, but think about it. The oldest one in the world has been feeding a village continuously for 4,000 years. It's just ancient knowledge that you should know. Anyway, I want to appreciate you for joining me. By the way, if you haven't clicked follow or like or share, do it. I want to do a social experiment. You ready? As you see me cover things today, because it has to do with election integrity, each time I cover a main point, watch the thumbs down I get. Because those will be the people that fancy themselves in election integrity, rebelling against me telling you the truth. But once again, the truth will set you free, only the truth. You got to deal with the truth. So we're going to be talking about something. I'm warning you, danger's coming. It's coming. Something nefarious has taken over election integrity, and you need to know about it and be prepared. Share this program. We'll get started right after this.
Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians? The elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd. Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer, he's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, folks, this is going to be a teaching lesson. And when I try to engage with other people that fancy themselves in election integrity, they get pissed, they call me a jerk, and they think I'm doing something bad to them. They don't pick up the phone and talk to me. They won't join groups, let's talk, let's go through this, so they don't do it. So the only way to kind of talk through tweets and stuff. But I'm telling you right now, something nefarious has taken over election integrity state by state. Mind you, I'm not saying elections. We know that. Something nefarious has taken over election integrity. Okay, let me kind of set this up for you. I'm just going to kind of go through it because it was actually a dialogue on Twitter. And you may remember that, and of course, a lot of this, here it is, 4+ years later, and you're going to find out that those Georgia ballots that people have hopium are still going to be there. They're not going to be there. They're gone. Now, we were doing the Arizona audit and stuff, and we had multiple states ready to do audits, Michigan, Pennsylvania, et cetera, et cetera. That all kind of got shut down. It didn't get shut down by the left. It got shut down by the right, and it got shut down by so-called election integrity experts. Oh, don't do that. That's a grift. It costs too much. You can't do it. Just canvass. So it shut them all down. But Georgia was really close. Now, Georgia went sideways, to give you a little bit of history so you understand. During this time, I'm providing testimony to the court for Georgia. I'm called in, tapped by the judge as an expert witness to provide information. You're playing a significant amount of strategy when it comes to what you do talk about and what you don't talk about. So we knew in Georgia, right, that we were going to get the physical ballots, but I also wanted the cast vote records. Now, heretofore, people didn't get a hold of the cast vote records. That's the electronic version in the machine. Nobody paid attention to it until we started doing what we did. But also at that time, election integrity experts didn't know there's 6 different versions. So the one you get sent afterwards, if you're lucky to get it through a Freedom of Information request, is what they want you to know, not actually what happened. So I'm kind of playing this cat and mouse game, telling the judge, no, I don't want the cast vote records, because they were willing to cough that up because it's too low of quality. It's about the quality of a fax machine page in the 1980s. And so the judge asked me to, well, look at some and do some forensics on it and tell us what it is. So I actually get these things called the cast vote records from Georgia, which hadn't been done before, ever. And we're going through them. Now, we know what's there. We know what we're going to find. We knew it in advance. right? But these things are intentionally neutered to a very low level, just so you can't tell if a person really did it. You can't tell anything about the paper or whatever. And so I held to the paper forensics, saying, Your Honor, this is the quality of a 1980 fax page, and you can't do forensics off of it. And by the way, they do this intentionally. So we're going to get the paper. The judge was deciding, okay, well, I can understand now why you need the paper. Well, I had all of that evidence. It was the lead in it and myself. Nobody really knew of this. Then those cast vote records, which had never been released in Georgia, we gave a copy in this to Garland Favorito for safekeeping, because he's kind of leading the voice in the charge there. I'm behind the scenes, the funder's behind the scenes. So we give it to him to safekeep. Well, Garland decided to give it to one of his buddies, David Cross. David Cross took it, ran it on its own. I knew the kid that was helping doing some software for it, and he decided to become a social media star. Look, you can see they ran these over and over and over. Well, we already knew it. The way you would have done it in court is you would have brought the paper. When you work on the paper, anything they overran is not going to reflect in the physical paper. They're just not going to be there. And then they're going to say, well, that doesn't prove anything. And then you bring in the cast vote records and say the physical paper is missing sheets, missing ballots, but the digital says you did, and here it is. We can prove it. You set it up for a court case. Well, this guy decided he wanted to be a social media star and blasted out there, look, I found these, I'm a hero, look at this. Something we were intentionally keeping quiet. I had no idea he'd been given these, and he shouldn't have been given these. Anyway, long story short, we're a few weeks away. We're already choosing the rooms, the equipment, and everything else. The whole system goes batshit crazy. They send in all these attorneys. I believe the judge got threatened and scared, and it put everything on hold, and it changed our entire destiny. So I picked up the phone. I called these guys, because not only did he do it, other people, like the kid who is a Taco Bell guy that's now an election integrity guy, and this guy who's babysitting his few-month-old trial, and this guy over here who's a lumberjack, I called him, I get him on the phone, said, you've got to take down, because he's doing a podcast tour, take this shit down. You're going to cost us the Georgia audit. Two of them one of them said, you just want to be the breaker of the story. Some little kid who was a drug counselor who's now talking about things, well, you just want to be the one breaking. I was going, you don't understand. This is not for social media. It'll come out. You can talk about it later, but you got to let it run its course. Needless to say, everything blew up in Georgia. So that's the background of what I'm going to set up today, okay? Because aside from you see the system paying people to heavily talk about the Venezuelan shit, just because somebody at one time worked for the CIA or one time worked for the FBI, and they're coming and saying, well, they did it in Venezuela, that has nothing to do with the United States of America. And in a court of law, it's not what could have been done. A court of law is only about what actually happened, prove it. Of course, everybody's on that media towards the machines and machines, because they understand you are so smart. They have to get all these other podcasters to broadcast other stuff to push against you, because you know the truth. So our only defense as a nation is for you to know the truth. So I'm going to give you the truth. What you do with it is totally up to you, okay? You can take it or leave it, right? But it's all based on common sense. So now that I've set that up so you understand some of the backstory, this fellow, let's see here. Where's his tweet? Here it is. This fellow, oh, wait. Hang on, dang, I got it out of sequence. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This fellow who is the single-handed person that cost Georgia a full forensic audit. By the way, he was rewarded by the GOP and made the vice chair in Georgia in Fulton. Luckily, he got outvoted, okay? Now, if you look at it, his words, where he tagged me, I didn't tag him, he tagged me and says, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer says it will invalidate your ballot. Okay? It will invalidate your ballot. Okay? which I've never said. We're going to go back over that today. That's why I know people, we got to push back. But anyways, bragging about, look, I made extra marks on my ballot, like the raccoon was telling you, and I made this and I did this. Well, here's what he did. You see up there in the top right-hand corner, he put his initials and exclamation points, kind of like a junior high signature. Upside down exclamation point, his initials, regular underline. So he put it on the top of his ballot. But you notice where he put it. He didn't put it anywhere where there are votes. They don't look for shit up there at all. So it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, okay? But he's bragging about Jovan was wrong and he's a jerk and whatever. So here it is. And I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying because I'm going to repeat exactly what I've said. Everyone, let's see how many thumbs down I got so far. Not one yet. Okay, well, they'll gather here in a minute. And so he said, draw on your definite ballot that connects your bubble. Now, here's their reasoning. Make a mark on your ballot. So when the election's over and possibly 6 or 7 or 8 months after the election, after we file lawsuits or freedom of information request, I personally can get the cast vote records and then I can see your mark there. You understand the lunacy and the narcissistic point of that. That's about them. It's like the raccoon. Mark it, circle it, put it here, and then I'll be able to see. Well, just so you know, raccoon, it's not about you. It's about the voting public. What the fuck are you going to do after you get it 6 or 8 months later? Not a damn thing. It's already certified and gone. That's not how you fight the fight. So he's bragging that he did it on his ballot, right? He's bragging that he did it. You'll see it right up there on the tip top corner of the ballot. I thought I had it, but I don't. Doesn't matter, right? He makes a little signature dinky dink up on his ballot. Okay? He marks it. You can see him little mark it up there, etc. So that's what he's bragging about. So I basically kind of enter the dialogue. Guys, you tagged me. Do not write on your ballot. Don't do that at all. And I said, I never said it invalidates your ballot. I have said it's a method by which they temporarily suspend the process of your ballot. They take action on it. So let me give you an example. When you have that ballot scan in, you expect it to go through, tally, and go right to that election management record, right? You expect it to be counted. However, when extra marks are on the ballot, your ballot goes in, the system sees it and goes, wait a minute, I need help. And that help is in the form of computers or a human. Now, it's there. You did, in fact, vote. That's why the system says adjudication doesn't cancel your vote. You're right. I've never said that. I said adjudication temporarily suspends the vote. Words matter. And so what it does is it gives them a look up here. You follow me? It gives them a look up here. And then they'll just bring it down over time. Well, what do you need to rig an election? Okay? What do you need to rig an election? You need intel. You got to know how the votes are coming in. You don't just throw in 1,000 votes or 1,000,000 votes to win something because you can overdo it. The game is to make it look like a close race. So the very first thing you need is intel. Right? When you have that intel and you know what's going on and you realize how many votes you need to put in, what do you need next? The T, time. So now you know how it's going. You know you need to insert ballots, so you need time to do it. Now, just because you have time to do it doesn't mean you can do it because you need something else. And what is that? Inventory. And what's the inventory? The voter rolls. And if you match the voter rolls against the intel, you see who didn't vote it or who wasn't used, and you put them in. You follow? Intel, time, inventory. That's completely how it works. Intel, time and inventory. You can steal that. You can use it. You can say you did it, but it's a very simple process. It's blatant. Give you an example. Obama's first term, 69 million. Second term, 65 million. Hillary, 65 million of her against Trump. Biden, the big FU middle finger, 81 million. Then Kamala, 68 million. But what happened? It's been over a year now, and they're still adding votes. She's gone from 68 million to over 75 million. Part of that inventory is illegals. What they're doing is they're back validating all the bullshit for the 81. That's how it works. Did they leave the machines running the whole time? No, they did not. You need the intel, you need the time, you need the inventory. It's that simple. Okay? Now, I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to give you a teaching moment real quick. So you understand if you can do anything to give the system a reason to temporarily momentarily hold your ballot so they can put a time suspend on it, they're going to use it nefariously. Okay? That's just how it works. So let me explain what happened in Maricopa. This is how I taught it before, but I'm going to give you a quick refresher. Over 2 million extra marks on them. It bled all over the place. Okay? It bled all over the place. It confuses the machine, and all it see the screen, and you see those little yellow squares or red squares or green squares. That's computer vision, machine learning, and artificial intelligence knowing where everything is. That's the technology I created to understand the state, the physical state, the kinematic state of the ballot. Did it get movement on it by a human hand? Those are what you're seeing. So you're actually looking at our technology there. Green means it's a real vote. Yellow means it's out of the parameters. Red means it's so close it might count it as a double. Over 2 million extra marks on them. It bled all over the place. Okay? It bled all over the place. It confuses the machine, and all it does is suspend your vote, not take away your vote. That's how they wordsmith it. It's not going to cancel your vote. That's not the point. What they do is when you do this maneuver, you are given a secondary human or team the right to decide what you meant because it temporarily suspends it. Now, to show you how rampant this misinformation is, you heard my great friend who I love, Roger, called it a spoiled ballot. That is not a spoiled ballot. There's a difference between forced adjudication and a spoiled ballot. A spoiled ballot means the machine cannot read it, and therefore somebody manually takes your ballot, and they are allowed by law to take a clean ballot and fill it in for you. That is called a spoiled ballot. But see, so few people really understand what all these definitions mean or is. So no, would Jack's Mark spoil his ballot? Not at all. Not at all. But did Jack allow his ballot to be adjudicated? Yes, he allowed it 2 ways. Overmarking, which you can see compared to an oval, and the fact yes, my voice is sped up.
And there is the bleed through. That's it. So I'm concerned that you see on election day in Maricopa, they, through a trick of a pen, a Sharpie, temporarily suspended every single vote conducted on election day in Maricopa. So they had all the intel beginning with mail-in, and the wild card is election day. So they had to find a way to suspend, not get rid of, suspend, temporarily suspend, like go stand in the corner. Election day. They did it with Sharpies and the wrong paper. Now, here's my problem. We're not looking at an election day ballot, are we? You know what we're looking at? We're looking at an early ballot and a walk-in in a primarily Republican district. They have now, because they learned how to do it in 2020, infiltrated with markers into the early voting process, which they did not do. And so now they've deployed markers into the early voting process, which absolutely 100% guarantees for a moment in time, those ballots are going to be suspended, which allows a human to bring them down later. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to change your vote. It doesn't mean they're going to swap your vote. It only means they know your vote. And if they know your vote, if they know how you voted in advance, any way they do it, and they all take extra days, which they've already said they're going to do, what do they have the ability to do?
slide all the crap votes up underneath because they know exactly what the numbers are in advance. I'm gonna brush your mind for a minute, because that's just one. If you can get somebody that sophisticated, that hardcore for America, okay, to willingly but unknowingly make these mistakes, you can get anybody to do it. And that's the only reason I'm doing it. But before I go even to the more hardcore, nefarious stuff, I call that miseducation. I call that not knowing. I blame the GOP, because the GOP certainly didn't make sure I was on with Jack or any of them, because I would have never let this happen. Now, you probably recently saw in Georgia, now I'm going to laser focus on Georgia for you, because, and I only showed you Jack and stuff, so you understand mixed terminology. It would have never spoiled his ballot. And so we're still so far behind on education of how this really works and what they really do, right? And if somebody as smart as Jack, not understanding what happened to his ballot, which I would have stopped, but the GOP would not let the word be out. And you now see somebody as smart as Jack voting with a Sharpie, which they cannot make you do. Now, they've changed the ballot. Some states say black pen, blue pen. Some of them now in Pennsylvania are saying black pen or marker. This is a permanent setup they learned how to do, but they can't force you to use the Sharpie. But people never think about those things. They just don't think about them. Okay. Sorry, I was getting rid of a spam in chat. So I've done a lot of teaching on this. That goes back a few years. Okay. So here's how this dialogue went. So I get Mr. Cross calling me out, say, ha ha, I marked on my ballot, blah, 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 blah. So I had to go back and do some teaching. And so I started posting, hey, look, let me show you how this works. And so you're looking at a ballot here from John McCain and Barack Obama. Okay? And you're looking at not only a vote, but you're looking at bleed through Sharpies. Now, why did I show that? In order for my team and forensics to understand what happened in 2020, we went backwards 16 years prior. You have to understand history to understand what you're looking at here in the current day and what it manifests. Well, this is when they first tested. This is when they first tested Sharpies and what could they do with it. Back in Barack Obama time. And his second term was BS. So I began to try to educate these people. Look, you're not understanding. I never said it invalidates your ballot. That is not the point. So I started showing examples. Because they're saying it's only the oval, the machines only read the oval. You can mark anywhere on the ballot you want. It only reads the oval. And I'm saying, you're wrong. It can read the whole ballot. And I started giving them examples. Like here's back when Al Franken ran, right? And that smudge made it be adjudicated, not changed, but adjudicated. I started showing them here. Here's another one. Here's a random line. Hey, let me show you this one. Here are ones that also got adjudicated. And I'm showing historic adjudications over and over and over and over, how this works, what it looks like, all different types. And so I've got this account called Mad Libs. Is it here? Right? Mad Libs, Mad Liberals, basically telling me, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And using this lie as, well, Jovan said it'll invalidate your ballot. No, I never did. And so this kind of debate starts rolling. And I'm showing this stuff. And I'm giving them instances of it. And then all of a sudden, another one chimes in. This is an account that's kind of hard to track, but funny. That account is followed with no name, is followed both by Mad Libs and David Cross, which is kind of weird. If you think you got a troll and they're using a fake account, go to the fake account, look who follows them. The ones that follow are the very people that set it up, that use it. That's how they cross-tag themselves. They're monitoring it. Anyway, and so that account popped up. basically joining this debate. Why it only reads the ovals. And what happened here is it popped up, says, look, you can color your ballot like this. If there were no marks on the oval, here's the software. Here's how the software will interpret how you voted. Blank votes with no adjudication needed. Overvotes and write-ins are the only thing that trigger adjudication. And they submit this cast vote record, and you can see it's blacked out, but the ovals are white, saying you can see it. You can black out everything, and if there's nothing in the oval, it doesn't adjudicate it. So then I'm going, well, that's kind of interesting. So, of course, what I do is I start turning the forensics on it. So I take the ballot that they offered up as proof, and you begin your forensic work. Now, you can see this is reversed. Now, why do I reverse it? When you look at the ovals and you look at the white boxes, you see they have perfect clean edges. The rest of the ballot's kind of blurry. These things have perfect clean edges. Well, see, under forensics, you start to see these things. When you see original type and original black, look at the black squares on the edge, the far right or the far left. See how they're kind of nipply? Pinto, this is a cast vote record. This is not a printed ballot. This is what the machine puts out and says is a copy. So he gave one and said, well, I've looked at them and did it. And I'm so, okay, I'm going, okay, let's even see if this is a cast vote record. So I started doing forensics on it. Now, what I want to draw your attention to is the black boxes, right? The solid black boxes that he said, well, see, somebody blacked this out and here it is, went through. But if you look at the right or you look at the left or you look at the lines, you see how the lines are nipply? You see how they got little dots or hooks on them? That's the original cast vote record. But when you see, look at the right big square box, see how the lines are smooth? This basically means somebody's trying to give us a cast vote record playing like, look, this got inserted in the program and it was all blacked out and it did nothing. Well, okay, here you go. Here it is. I literally, okay, am showing the straight lines. Now, I want you to take a little bit of time, okay? I want you to take a little bit of time, and I want you to look at this. Should I assume this is Maryland, M-A-R-A-L-A-N-D, saying in Rumble, I love it because I'm under your skin, like I said, here to stay? Somebody want to qualify what that is? Okay. I don't see their other post. Somebody qualify what's being said, and I can give them a permanent home somewhere else. Anyway, you see the straight lines that are black versus the nipply lines. So what this means is somebody's trying to pass off as a cast vote record something they actually manipulated. Because see, the black squares, there's no fuzzy lines. So you look at it in a different frequency. So you turn the frequency the other way. And see how perfect the ovals are? But look right in the center. You see how from the second, you got one box on the left that says President of the United States. You got a box on the right that says special election for United States, right? Okay. But you see how that white line doesn't line up with the one above it? It means it encroaches in it. So once again, I'm going, why are you sending something that you're saying is a cast vote record to prove you can write all over it? It won't do anything as long as you don't touch the oval. And the person doing this is sending a bullshit ballot, right? The person doing it is sending a bullshit ballot. And so then we take it through all the forensic frequencies. And you can see, just comparing the propensity of the ballot to these straight black boxes, okay? So I found it suspect that while I'm even having to have this stupid ass debate saying this is, look, these things trigger adjudications, that I'm talking with people that are quote unquote leading the election integrity front. So we got David Cross in Georgia, swears he's a big leader in Georgia, blah, blah, doo, blah, blah, right? And then we've got this other one, which is Mad Libs. No problem. But then all of a sudden, instead of maybe in their own name, I get these phony posts in a name you can't track down, but they both follow. So I'm going, okay, something's afoot. So where this debate headed is Mad Libs is saying, I look at ballot, I'm working with 30 states or whatever it was, might have been less. I'm working with all these states and I'm doing all this work. And I've looked at 3 million ballots and I'm doing this and this and this. And I said, let's kind of do a dictionary check. You haven't looked at 3 million ballots. You've looked at maybe at 3 million cast vote records, but you haven't looked at physical ballots. There's a big difference. And I'm telling you, this adjudicates. Now, let me give you a little secret of the machine. You can walk in and cast your ballot, and let's say there's 10 machines in a row. What you don't know, and what people don't focus on, is every machine can have a different setting. Yeah, they're not required to tell you. You think it's all the same. But remember, somebody tells you, you go to this machine over here. Let me say that again. Remember, somebody tells you, you go to that machine over here. Let me do it again. Mr. Smith. Yeah, I see you're a Republican. You go to this machine over here. They traffic cop it. Those machines each can have different settings. Did you know that? And in fact, you can set the software remotely to say, adjudicate, meaning temporarily suspend 1 out of every 2 ballots, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5, all of them. You never knew that until we showed you how it was done and why they do it. And it's resident on the machines. And they do it on the printers. They do everything. And they say, print it this way, print it this way. Can all be done remotely. And so I'm trying to say, guys, you got to understand, even if you think you didn't find it in this one county, all of this is done dynamically as they need it. And oh, by the way, you're fighting for the wrong shit. You're just saying it doesn't cancel your vote, which is what Dominion says. ES&S, Hart, the GOP and the Dems says, well, that doesn't cancel your vote. They're telling the truth. I never said it canceled your vote. That doesn't invalidate your ballot. No shit. I didn't even say that. I said it temporarily suspends it. But see, here's what you don't get out of this. Do you know, with that machine variability, are you afforded equal protection under the law? Every person that walked in had a different rule. They can set it that way. You think it's just because you walked in, you marked on a ballot and put it in, but the law reads equal protection under the law. So you use this knowledge of how the machines are variable to say, maladministration, you didn't treat everybody the same. The system's finally getting it. President Trump knows this. He'll say maladministration now. You'll hear Carrie Lake coming out. She'll say maladministration, malfeasance. It's finally getting through. But everybody's supposed to vote identically the same. That's the stuff that's hidden under the hood. So let me show you a few more things that can make the machine temporarily time suspend your vote. It's called a time hack. It's not canceling your vote. It's not canceling your ballot. Those are bullshit words that they use to tell you everything's okay. It's not true. Okay? And you're supposed to vote with equal protection under the law. Everybody treated identically the same. All you have to do is prove you didn't treat everybody the same. And when you can prove maladministration, you didn't run the election right, that's where all your rights begin. You can't start screaming, fraud, 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 fraud. Anyway. Okay, so look at this. Ready? This is a ballot that when it ran through the system temporarily suspended it to give a human the ability to hold it. It can be held for a minute. Some of these get held for days. Now, you look at this. Use your own judgment. You ready? Look at this. Who is the vote really for? Dean Barkley. But you see that little smudge there, Al Franken. Now, why is that important? Remember, I told you, you have to have intel, time, and inventory. Intel, time, and inventory. When a ballot temporarily gets suspended, let me ask you a question. Do you know the intel of this ballot? Yeah, Dean Barkley was the actual vote. Now, because you modified it, meaning you took it out of the stream of going right to the vote, you took it out of the stream. That's a modification. You pull it out of the stream and you're holding up here. That's a modification. Did you execute the second part you need, which is time? Of course you did. Now it's on hold. So now you got intel and time. Get it? That's how this works. So that's a proven fact that that was an adjudicated ballot. Here's another one. I'm going to show you quite a few in a row. This did the same thing. Now this one got adjudicated for two reasons. Okay, and these are two different ones, by the way. The one on the left got adjudicated because it just had that bullshit mark. One mark. Did it get adjudicated? And they keep on saying, well, it only reads the oval, and if the oval's blank, it doesn't read it. Well, here's why it got adjudicated. See the left there on Al Franken? There's no oval voted there. There's no oval voted there. Okay? At all. So I'm telling you, they can adjudicate anything they want, and it looks past the oval. And if it didn't look past the oval, you wouldn't have this physical evidence. Look to the one at the right. Okay? This one is showing these two marks. It's two different ones combined. They also got adjudicated. Why'd they get adjudicated? Because the oval has a space. They can set variably, the oval must be filled in 3/4 of the space or it doesn't count as a vote. Well, did these slashes fill in 3/4? No, they didn't. It adjudicated it. See, these guys don't even know that even that is variable. They can be, say, if there's any mark there, no matter what, even a pinpoint, it counts. Or they can go the opposite extreme, let's say in Republican districts, if it's not filled in at least 75%, we don't have to count it. These are all variable, and they use it to time manipulate the system. So I show these things. Now, every time I would post these, Mad Libs would say to me after bragging about, I've got 11 million ones I'm looking at right now. I'm working in 30 states. I'm Cause of America. I'm this, I'm that, right? Bragging about their work. I'm showing you these. And he's telling me the system wouldn't adjudicate that. Show me the ballot. The system wouldn't adjudicate that. And I keep on going time and time again. Here's another one. See how the one on the top, right? I'm showing you the adjudication windows these look at. So they can adjudicate it if it's a slash. And I showed that one over there, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, but you see the check marks out to the right? And these guys are literally arguing with me, that wouldn't adjudicate a vote. And I'm showing them copies of it. Here's how a McCain-Palin one got done. See the oval and the M and the slash? I mean, I just keep on showing them samples time after time after time, right? Here's how they learned to do Sharpiegate. This is the time they tested in the system. How do we use Sharpies? And they've always bled through, and you've always been told never use a marker or a Sharpie on your ballot. But magically they do it in 2020 and say it's okay because they learned how to operationalize it. Here's another one, right? I mean, I'm showing I've got millions of marks. Now, this fellow, Mad Liberals, you can see his comment down there. Can you send me the original ballot images? I've gone through little hundreds of thousands of adjudicated ballots personally and have never seen that happen. I even did 20 tonight. The second image would trigger it since it moved the spot, but there's no way a check mark on the text caused an adjudication on its own. Now I'm debating with a advocational civilian, I look at this stuff. I'm showing him historic data. I mean, it should kind of tell you right away. Al Franken didn't just run. John McCain didn't just run. And Barack Obama didn't just run. I'm showing them history. The first thing I'm doing is I'm showing them proven history. These come from the public files of things that have been adjudicated and why. But you see his quote. That check mark would never do it. Now, the first thing you got to realize what's going on in election integrity and why I'm covering this. It's not a fucking contest, folks. Ooh, good. I got my thumbs down. It's not a contest. It's fact. I don't like having to repeat it. And it's kind of ignorant. It's going to get more ignorant as I show you this, folks. For you to keep on telling me, well, I've never seen that. It's not adjudicated, and show me the ballot when you can't read what's in front of you. So I go a little bit deeper. I go, let me show you some more. Okay, here's an adjudicated special election. Here you go. Take a look at it, blah, blah, blah. And they adjudicated this one. Now, you can see the marks are outside the oval. You can see the marks outside the oval, but the system adjudicated it because it has the ability to do it. And so this lie that came out, now I want to share this with you. When I came out and exposed Sharpiegate, okay, which is the only definitive proof in the world of how this happens. In fact, about 120,000 ballots in Maricopa displayed 2.1 million more votes on those ballots than were actually voted. That's how bad the bleed through was. That suspends it. It looks like dots. I'll show you that in a minute. But I keep on telling people, when I broke Sharpiegate, Dominion and the GOP, yes, I said that, Dominion and the GOP put a team on the road going city to city, going to a podcaster in Colorado who podcasted daily, going to a professor judge in New Mexico and set them down and says, we only read the ovals, nothing else, that's it. And they trained everybody, it's just the ovals. But that's the very companies and system that allowed it to happen. And they got everybody to push back on me. It reads the oval and it doesn't read anything else, which is how this dialogue began. But I'm showing you historically, it reads past the oval or it wouldn't adjudicate these. I'll show you a few more. Take a look at this. Now, I posted this one. Now, I want to show you how fucking ignorant this is. When you write in a name, how do we know? When you write on your ballot, fuck you in the blank space, how do we know? So it obviously reads anything. Does everybody write in the same exact way with the same exact print? No, it reads an array of things. So I show more. Take a look. Example of invalid votes due to inconsistent marks outside the target area. Now I show this. Read the headline. Example 13, invalid votes due to inconsistent marks outside the target area. You see a circle around it, that creates an invalidation point. You see a check mark out to the right, that creates an invalidation point. You see the X out to the right, and this guy comes back and says, no marks would be identified nor adjudicated on that ballot. See, the problem is, it's me. Let me tell you why it's me. Because this arrogant narcissist doesn't even realize this is the official Election Commission report on stray marks adjudication. He thinks I put this together. His reply only has to do with it's me. And he's telling everybody, don't worry about marks, circle your name, draw a dilly-dally. And I'm telling, don't tell people to do that. It's a time hack. And I'm showing them, now, so far, this is going to speed up for you. I'm showing historical data. He's already bragged, I'm doing 30 states and 11 million ballots. I just did this month. I'm running now. And I'm saying, and I'm showing this. He's not paying attention. He actually thinks I did this. And he comes back and says, no marks would be identified nor adjudicated on that ballot. Now, you got to understand Adjudication is a multi-pronged purpose, a multi-pronged step. Let's go through it. Your ballot comes in, okay? Adjudication is a catchphrase. It just means the system, computers, pulled your ballot aside. Yes, it went in, but it pulled it aside. And it throws it into an adjudication file. Then either a computer or a human looks at it and they go, oh, I know what this means. If they don't change it at that point, they let it go through. It's an adjudication without a result. But they made a modification. They temporarily suspended. They made the mod. That's the temporary suspend. But did they make the change, meaning changing the actual vote? No, they didn't. And so he's playing the same word game that the voting companies say to us. Well, it wouldn't it be adjudicated? Because the way they want you to think of it is, well, we didn't change a vote. That's not what the word means or how the system works. That's a different subset. Get it? And I keep on showing this. And he keeps on pushing back. And I just show countless counts. Here is, ready? This is the patent for digital adjudication. And I happen to fucking know something about patents. I have them in all 190 countries. Now let's see if even you can catch this. In your patents, you have to kind of show all the process steps. So look at the front of this patent. Do you see how it has a little smudge on it that they highlighted? If you follow that little line to a smudge, it gives you reference 1025. Okay? 1025. This is the actual patent that governs all of this electronic adjudication. So I go in, I get the patent filing, right? See that little smudge that they put on it in the filing 1025. Well, let's go look up 1025. What does 1025 say? Okay. I'm just going to read these two here, right? An adjudication mark are provided in optical image data. In this example, 1015, the optical scan ballot system that generated the audit mark identified two races as having overvotes, one resulting from a mark, one resulting from a soiled area on the ballot. Such soiled areas may be, for example, a coffee stain, a food stain, or another type of soil on the ballot. Soil ballots may be encountered with increased frequency, for example, in mail-in ballots. In this example, an election official readily discerns that the mark 1020 is in fact an error on the ballot. See, they determined it's a smudge. Well, how did they determine it's a smudge? The system flagged it and temporarily time hack suspended it. And it called out the smudge and a person looks at it. And then it says, right, there you go, that here it is. It was a smudge and it happens. And so the person gets to say, okay, we'll let this go through. Now, did they change the ballot? They didn't. Did it modify the flow of the ballot? Yes, it did. It modified it out of the flow. It didn't let it go to immediately count. It didn't invalidate the vote, and it didn't invalidate the ballot, but it captured it, pulled it over here to a folder, which required a person to interact with it, which is why I asked you the question at the beginning of the program. Would you let anybody decide what they think about your vote? See, because in a human adjudication, that person has 100% right to say, nope, that's an overvote. They voted for another person down there. That person makes the decision. That person can say, well, I think that's a vote, when it's not. Now, the system tells you this. I'm showing this guy, here's the system stuff. I'm terrified because he say, well, I'm working in 30 states. Which tells me, holy shit. If you actually think it only counts to oval, and you are now dialoguing with, Cause American with, Lindell Team with, Electional Integrity with, you are misinforming them. and I can prove it. So this dialogue goes on, right? And he just keeps on going. And I'm saying, look, the ones I showed you first are actually published by the Election Assistance Commission themselves. You can check this on Clear Ballot. It's been out there for years and years. It even exposes the nefarious likelihood of confidence mark. That's where I told you they can dial it up and down. This is not a contest. It's just public info. And he comes up, well, I have over 11 million ballots literally on a machine at this moment. Do you have the specific ballot where this happens? And then he adds, and speaking of which, I have a stack of Sharpie ballots where this is over 30 filled in circles on the back of the ballot, completely beating into the front. And since it's not part of the matrix, those marks aren't red. Do you see how this word game's played? He literally is basically, it doesn't change your vote. We only read the ovals. Who says it doesn't change the vote? We only read your ovals. Dominion doesn't change your vote. We only read the ovals. ES&S doesn't change the vote. We only read your ovals. Heart Civics doesn't change your vote. We only read the ovals. GOP doesn't change the vote. So this guy, supposed trying to help save elections, doesn't change the vote, only reads the ovals. Doesn't invalidate your ballot, only reads the ovals. The same thing that these voting companies paid to go out and tell podcasters when we broke Sharpiegate. Now I'm going, what the fuck? Now, once again, he's saying, do you have a specific ballot where this happens? Well, I've been showing them ballots the whole time. And it keeps on going. So he comes back again. Now, here's the loop we're locked in. I'm showing him time after time after time. This is a time hack. It doesn't invalidate your ballot. It doesn't change the vote. It just temporarily suspends it so they can work underneath, which I'm going to show you the end result of this in Arizona. And he comes back. And here's his quip. I'll try this again, but I know what is going to happen. Do you have a ballot image where we can look at where non-bubble writing has caused adjudication? The whole time I've been showing the historical data. So I wrote back. You were told the following, and you chose to ignore. Those adjudication samples come from Lehigh University Computer Science and Engineering and Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute School of Engineering, Electrical and Computer Systems Engineering, Boise State and Boise State University, presented in research and in conference presentation to the National Institute of Science, also in the proceedings of the International Conference on Document Analysis and Recognition. So how would I have those ballots? I told you you don't do your homework. And it was lacking and you're ill-informed. I said, ask the universities. And then it went on. Oh, by the way, the research was also supplied and verified by the Ohio Evaluation and Validation of Election-Related Equipment Standards and Testing by the Secretary of State, and in proceedings of the International Conference on Pattern Recognition and Yukon Voting Technology Research Center and the Document Analysis Systems for Supporting Electronics Voting Research, in proceedings of the IAPR Workshop on Document Analysis Systems. You are spouting your opinion, and all of these case studies and research work, including the actual systems, manuals, and procedures, they too dispute what you are selling 100%. It only reads the ovals. Now, what terrifies me about this is supposedly an expert that's consulting 30 states, telling them this doesn't matter, it only reads the oval. So I'm thinking, holy shit, right? You're telling this to 30 states? And I'm very methodical, folks. Very methodical in this stuff. The whole time he's only discounting it because it's coming from me. I kind of let them hang themselves, right? Where he even thought that chart that said this invalidates vote, this invalidates. I've never seen one like that. That doesn't do it. Of course, I don't tell him. It's from the fucking manual. So I kind of let them hang themselves. And then you saw me. Here it is. Here it is. Every university, what it is. I always get the same reply. Every time I get the same reply. Now, why am I telling you this? Why am I saying this is nefarious? Because by his own admission, this is occurring in the advice given by this cause, election integrity, to 30 states. Now, I'm going to play for you the evidence we presented to the Arizona AG's office and played on this phenomenon that we called forced adjudication, which basically means your ballot comes in, the system sees something it doesn't like that the people that ran the elections, maladministration, caused, and so they are forcing it to go into adjudication. Pay attention, and then even after this, I'm going to show you the end result of why they do this. Pay attention. This is broken down by fact. It gives you history, and it shows you Arizona. This is our vote modification analysis. Alarming is in the 2020 Maricopa general election, 235,367 individual ballots were changed by either a human or a machine after the ballots were tallied. 99% of all ballot batches were modified, without anyone expecting the physical ballot paper. Why did this occur? Why so many electronic changes? What changes were made to the ballots? There are over I want you to remember, they modify the flow first. There's multi-steps. If you put your ballot in to be read, and it's supposed to drop into the tally systems and the electronic management system, that's the flow. What's the modification? The machine says, whoa, wait a minute, look at this. That's a modification. Got it? This is our vote modification analysis. Alarming is in the 2020 Maricopa general election, 235,367 individual ballots were changed by either a human or a machine after the ballots were. Now you're asking about what states mad liberals and these guys consult in. I asked the same question too. They all give the same answer. Well, I can't say. I'm under an NDA. This is our vote modification analysis. Alarming is in the 2020 Maricopa general election, 235,367 individual ballots were changed by either a human or a machine after the ballots were tallied. 99% of all ballot batches were modified, without anyone expecting the physical ballot paper. Why did this occur? Why so many electronic changes? What changes were made to the ballots? There are over 188 million possible voted ovals on the Maricopa ballots. How could anyone tell? Historically, across American elections, if more than 4 ballots per 100 showed errors in the system, the machines were considered to not be functioning properly. This is 1 out of every 25 ballots. In the 2016 general election, correcting ballots happened about 1 per 100 ballots. In 2018 across America, it was 2 times per 100 ballots, or 1 out of every 50 ballots. In 2020, Maricopa, Arizona, had the adjudication rates jumped to an astounding 1 out of every 8 ballots cast. This abnormality in Maricopa represents almost 12 times the historical average for ballot modifications. In Maricopa, 235,367 individual changed by either a human or machine after the ballots were cast. In the past, this would have been just a double handful of ballot boxes needing checking over by experienced human election workers. However, for the first time in Maricopa general election history, artificial intelligence by a computer modified your ballot. The use of artificial intelligence and disconnected workstations digitally masked the ballot adjudication crisis in Maricopa. Instead of just a double handful of boxes needing changes for paper ballots, the artificial intelligence hid the fact that 2 1/2 pallet loads of ballots needed to be modified. These 235,367 changes were modified digitally after they were voted, and the physical paper was never inspected by hand. These ballots were held inside a synthetic time hack. In a time study, it is estimated this took 7 to 12 days of electronic suspension, which were not allowed to drop straight to the vote tally bottom line. Why were 1 out of 8 ballots changed by human or machine? Why were the physical ballots not examined? Why send a poor digital photo of the ballots to a remote adjudication station? What really happened during this time? Why were the physical ballots removed from the physical review process? Were the physical ballots actually missing, only to appear later in the process? 99% of all ballot batches were modified in Maricopa without anyone inspecting a physical paper ballot to confirm there was an original paper ballot scanned. Okay, here's what you need to know. We used AI to detect it. AI was not deployed in adjudication. This is all closed systems, not AI. Now, what you should have learned is this is 12 times the norm. Huge anomaly. The second thing that happened is this is the very first time they did it electronically. They wouldn't let you look at the physical paper. It should have been 10 boxes that they stack up, somebody fixes them at the end of the table. That was the old process. This process hit it by sending it remotely to an outside building, and they did it only on computers. But if we were to restack those boxes, it would be 2 pallets of ballots, 90 boxes. Now you see why, that's why they hit it electronically. Because if somebody saw 90 fucking boxes pile up, they'd be going, what the fuck is going on? Now, remember in there, we said we did a time study. When we looked at adjudication steps, our lowest guess is this would have taken, if it was physical, 7 days. Our highest guess would be 12 days. Remember that variable? So let's kind of go middle of the road, 10 days. You with me? We said at the lowest time, if it was really done by humans, it would have taken 7 days. At the highest time, it would have taken 12 days. Let's just take middle of the road, 10 days, can we? Now, let me remind you of something, and this will drive it home. You will see why this is. You will see why they keep on pointing you to the screw-in machines. Well, the machine only reads the vote, so the machine didn't change the vote. The machine didn't invalidate your ballot. Jovan said it didn't invalidate your ballot. No, I didn't. Now get ready. The very first place in the United States of America in the 2020 election you ever heard some stupid ass shit like, we need 10 extra days to count the ballots. That was Maricopa. And you're going, you need 10 extra days to count the ballots. Remember, this was an electronic switch. If it was done by humans, they would need 7 to 12 days. Let's choose the middle row. Let's choose 10. Lo and behold, Maricopa comes out and you need 10 extra days to count the ballots. Now I'll bring it home to you. Now remember, all of these big massive ballots have been temporarily suspended in time. The only way they come back down is a person goes, okay, somebody has to click a button. You got it? It requires human interaction. Let's look at the 10 extra days Maricopa needed. By the way, folks, this is fucking forensics, not pulling out your ass. The machines did it. This is looking at what the paper tells you. Ready? Here is Maricopa. Look at the chart on the left. On the left, before the dotted line in the center, you're looking at how many ballots got processed by the tally machines. Okay? And these tally machines, there were 10 of them, and they're blowing and going. And they were processing about 140,000 ballots a day, leading up to the dotted line. See the dotted line? Then we need 10 extra days to count. So let's look at the 10 extra days they needed, which is dotted line right. Well, they did have one day that was about 89,000. The rest of the days, if you average them, including the days they didn't work, they fall about 5,000 or 6,000 ballots. And you're going, wait a minute. You were doing 140,000 ballots a day every day leading up to the election. You said you needed 10 extra days to count. We gave you those 10 extra days. Several of the days you didn't fucking work, and the average day you only counted 5,000 or 7,000 ballots. What the fuck? What's the disconnect? Oh, by the way, they didn't even use the 10 machines. See, we track everything. That's forensics. They were blowing and going with 10 machines. We need 10 extra days. When they get to that, not only do they get the days, a lot of the days they don't work. And the average was 7,000 ballots. Here's the kicker. They only use 2 machines. Well, if they're fucking behind, why would you just use 2 machines? What was everybody else doing that would normally supervise those machines? Well, it's only when you get to the right that you see it on December 8th and 9th. A month after the election, they run in 120,000 ballots. A month after the election, they had the system, somebody, this is physical, run 120,000 ballots in. What? A month after the election? What did I tell you need? First thing you need is intel. Here's the intel. How does everybody vote day by day? Take a look at it. You see the blue line, the red line? You see the blue line declining? You see the red line shooting to the top? Trump? That's the intel. How did they counterbalance the intel? They used a time adjudication hack and told you they had a ton to count. No, they didn't. They needed to know how many they needed to insert. And by the way, they inserted just enough to make Biden win, but not trigger a full forensic audit. And they still fucking missed the number because they had 1,812 more votes certified than they actually had. There it is, folks. You can fucking look at it yourself. I'm not doing anything picked out the ass, and I'm not doing it on a theory. Well, this is what I think it does. I'm telling you exactly what the paper says when it occurred, and none of their numbers matched. Here are the 5 voting districts. Okay, this is called kinematics. It's physical. A mail-in ballot is color on the right paper, and it's folded by a machine. We can measure that. A walk-in ballot is a black and white ballot. You mark it yourself, right? You fold it by hand. Nobody folds it right. Think about how many times you try to fold a fucking letter and unfold it trying to get it equal thirds. Or it's election day and it's flat. Well, look at the machine vote. They told us it was mail in. Every one of them, double digits failed. They didn't have them. But boy, they sure made them up in hand-folded no votes or election day votes. They made them up. What'd they have to make up? Exactly what they needed in the system later. Do you think Dominion sold to Liberty will stop the machine fraud? There isn't machine fraud. And stop using the word fraud. Fraud can only be determined by courts. It's maladministration. They got everybody to say fraud. That's how every single case got kicked out, because you keep on saying fraud. People trained you to say fraud. It's maladministration. And you still believe the machines do it. The machines didn't do it. The machines can be used to do nefarious steps. It's a program. It's people, paper, and programs. They used the paper by a program to suspend it because a person said do it. And then they make up what they need. So when they say the machine doesn't change vote, they're telling you the truth because that's not how they used it. But I keep on trying to explain to people it's people, paper, and programs. It's not machines. It's not machines. The same way your gun can't come out of your nightstand and shoot somebody. You understand you're making the same equivocation. Guns kill people. No, they don't. People kill people. The gun is just an inanimate object. But when you take a person with bad software, they will kill people. Oh, by the way, the machines, all the rules are voluntary. So do you think by changing it to Liberty Vote, it fixed it? You didn't watch my program, did you? I showed you going all the way back to the 60s. Every time they get in trouble, they sell to each other, they change the name. Oh, a Republican's got it now. It's all about the paper. All of the rules on the machine are voluntary. There's nothing to enforce. But if you fuck with the paper, see, this is racketeering. This is a felony. 118,019 state and federal felonies. This is why they ignore the paper evidence. It's where they go to prison. Keep you talking about the machines, you will keep on talking about the machines all damn day long. Oh, by the way, did they put people traveling the road doing 735 presentations on the machine is where the felony is? I mean, the paper's where the felony is because they intentionally put it through the machine. It's people, paper, and program. No. Did they put people on the road for 745 live presentations to tell you it was the machine and some polynomial shit, whatever? You say you always want to follow the money. You just never follow the money. They know you are educated. They know. Look, all of this is designed. I just want to tell you the truth. Everybody in election integrity, as they start telling you things that happen, this is the source right here, our team. We were the first people in history to do it. They just regurgitate bullshit. They give you about 70% truth, 30% bullshit to keep you manipulated. Did the system basically explain to you, you fuck with the ballot, it's a felony, you're going to prison? Look at two things. You can do your own homework if you do your own homework. Every indictment and prosecution that came down because of the paper. And how they got the indictment was there were suits filed for maladministration. You got played in a big con. Now they know you're educated. Their pushback is designed to shut down this audience. You are the most informed, educated patriots in the room. You know how this works. You see the facts for yourself. I don't talk about 6 degrees, polynomials, whatever you can't understand, but I'm so fucking smart than you that I was born with 3 degrees from MIT or whatever. It's a con job. Just like the Brennan Center looked at kinematics, says it's crap. Dr. Shiva they didn't look at anything. They didn't look at one file, one image, or one report. Zero. But they published that. It's a con job, folks. And you've got people now, just like I showed you, they'll push back because it's me. That's the only reason they push back, because I have the receipts. So why I asked you at the beginning of the program, would you intentionally allow anyone to temporarily suspend your ballot? Put it in chat. Would you allow anyone the right to temporarily suspend your ballot without your knowledge? Would you allow that? And I know what the answer is. Fuck no. So let me ask you a question. Why would you make extra marks, circles, doodles, lines, or anything on your ballot when there are major reports that forces adjudication? Why would you do it? I want you to think about that. Why would you do it? Then I want you to think about the other part of it. You just got to put together the timelines. If you take the time to put together the timelines, you'll understand. We exposed this hack, right? We exposed this hack. As we're going through the audit, the system immediately had to push back on it because they were terrified. No, we only read the ovals. This is this, and this. If you watch that evolution, as you learned about the marks, what did bullshit posers do? No, you circle your name. Circle your name so I can see it. Circle your name. Do this. But see, it wasn't the voting machines telling you that. It was supposed conservative and election integrity people and furry animals. And they're now spending time trying to get you to do it. It's come back up because we're headed to the midterms. That's why it's here. It's come back up. The problem is, folks, they're going to re-pull this fucking trigger. They've validated those votes going backwards by giving them extra votes since the election and special elections and the Congress races every 2 years. They're validating these people. They've taken Kamala up over to 75,000, so it doesn't look like those were all fake. They're trying to cover their ass. Why they're trying to cover ass? Because they're going to pull it in the midterms. And lo and behold, what's going on? Oh, mark on your ballot. Do this, do that. That's great or whatever. Can you not say that? So I asked you a logical question. I told you, an adult, make your own damn decision. Why would you ever, for any reason, make extra marks on your ballot? And they use wordplay. He said it will invalidate your ballot. Never said it. That's a con. They're paid to push back against this. They push back against me and my team. They tell you focus on the machines when you know the ballots are where the felonies are. Everything is being recycled. Isn't it amazing? We're now in the 12 months that's going to lead up to the midterms. What are you seeing everywhere? Mark on your ballots. It's Venezuela and China. It's a CIA guy who's the only one good CIA guy ever telling you. Do you not connect the dates? And when they started saying do circles and lines, it was in direct response to you learning the truth. And they've got to begin a re-education process with people through new influencers. That's it. That's it. You're responsible for yourself. But I also think you're responsible to your family, your children, your grandchildren, and your country, and God. Everything I've ever talked about, I've never changed. I can show you with empirical proof, and you don't have to fucking guess. I show you what it looks like. I take the time to teach you how it works and how it's done. All they do is swap words. They'll give you about 70% truth, 30% bullshit. This is how it works. You are the cure. You've got to decide for yourself, folks. I cannot do it for you. Why do you think they spend so much time telling you I'm a grifter and I'm bullshit and I'm this? It's the system terrified that you'll learn the cure. You think it's only liberals that suppress speech and truth? Wear a mask and distance. Fuck no. It's the system. You have to decide what's right for you. And frankly, election integrity, there is no integrity in elections, and there is so very little integrity in election integrity. It's all bullshit and vaporware. I just methodically played it out for you. The pushback is because I'm teaching you the truth and they want to teach you something else. Please, 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 please refuse to let that happen. Take responsibility for yourself. Don't let them hijack you. Don't let them end and hijack our country. We fought too damn hard. I love you. Please share this program.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win. They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.